health and lifestyle.
Hello, welcome back to Faith and Lifestyle. Today we are going to be looking at something that is very common in our societies today. And so we'll talk about don't inherit enemies. Don't inherit enemies. My dear friends, in life, you see, it is very easy to take sides. It's always very easy to carry grudges that are not ours. Sometimes we inherit enemies, people we never offended, but we inherit them from others. And so, what are we talking about? You have a friend or a sister who has a problem with another person. And because that your friend or sister or brother has told you about the problem that he has with the other person, you know, you just get offended with that person or you just hate the person. I mean, this is very common. You are you have a friend who does not talk with another person, and then all of a sudden you stop talking to the other person. So today we are saying that you should not, as a child of God, inherit enemies who are not your enemies. The word of God reminds us that peace is not weakness, it is wisdom, strength, and maturity. When you are someone who wants to make peace all the time, it shows your level of maturity. Let me give you a perfect example. You know, I had a man who told me one time that he noticed that he had another guy who was not interacting with him. He asked the guy one day what was going on. The guy just said, "Oh, there's nothing." And so they had an opportunity to go for a conference together. And in that conference, they were able to share a lot of things together. And after the conference, it was a quite a long conference, 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, the other guy came to him and actually confessed to him that he never knew that he was such a good person, that he had been made to understand by his friend that he was someone who liked a lot of trouble and who would not want to relate with people. And so that it was the guy who was whom the other person wasn't talking with, who came back now and told me. And I noticed that this is what we see in life every day. My dear friends, I am telling you that when you inherit other people's enemies, then you inherit their bitterness, you inherit their pain, you inherit their distraction. That burden that person has was not meant to be yours. If my sister has a problem with her friend who is, for instance, called Paul, I cannot take sides with my sister and also have a problem with Paul. No, Paul has not wronged me. And so if I now stop talking to Paul or I despise Paul, then I have inherited an enemy who is my sister's. It is not, he is not mine. So you see, dear friends, we are saying today that we should not inherit other people's enemies. Let me give you a perfect example from the Bible. It is the case of the friendship between Jonathan and David. You see, in First Samuel, we read about King Saul, who initially loved David. But now, when David started being loved by the community and the people around because of the wars that he was able to win, they were talking a lot about David. Saul just decided to hate David and he even tried to kill David. But Saul had his son who was Jonathan. And Jonathan happened to have maybe been about the same age with David. And their friendship had been a strong one. When Jonathan discovered that his father hated his friend David, he did not hate David in return. He did not side with his father to hate David. No, he decided to maintain his friendship with David. And it is that friendship that when Jonathan was no longer there, his son was able to benefit from David, who had become king at that time. My dear friends, I am telling you that Jonathan did not inherit his father's enmity. No, instead, he walked in truth and love. I am telling you today that you should not, for no reason, don't let someone else's quarrel destroy your joy. Don't let someone else's anger with another person ruin your friendship with that person. If you are someone who has decided that your friend's enemy is your enemy, then you're doing something which is wrong in the sight of the Lord. Therefore, dear friends, don't let another person's wound define your relationship with another. Guard your heart with wisdom and humility, and know that God is there to direct your path. Just lean on to God and don't let anyone distract you. Keep loving God, dear friends. Watch and subscribe to Faith and Lifestyle. And until we meet next time, man, the man back never say.